Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the book review. Okay friends, we are doing another video that is the last new releases that I read. Because I forgot to do one of these in January, but that's okay because now I have some December, January, and a couple of upcoming releases to talk about. And yeah, this video, like I said, has been one that you guys have really liked, and I really enjoy making it too. I like being able to kind of focus on the new releases, tell you my thoughts on those, and put it all in one video instead of having it be spread out through my weekly wrap-ups. However, I won't go in as much like full detail on this as I do in my weekly wrap-ups, so go ahead and check out that playlist if you want more of like a deep dive into my thoughts on these. But I will do the way I've done it before because it does make for a good title. I'm gonna rank these from the one I like the least to the ones I like the best. So they won't be in order of when they came out, they'll be in order of how I rank them, just so that I can save my favorites to talk about at the end, right? So we will start with a recent release. It came out on the 1st. That is easily the standout worst. Now, I've talked about this one and ranted about it in a couple videos, like I said, so again, I'll point you to that because I don't want to rag on it anymore. It's been enough, and I don't plan to read much more from this author after this because it just broke my heart too much. But Seeds of Malice by Maggie Cole was a 2-star read for me. I felt awful doing that, but there just wasn't much redeeming in this for me. I didn't find any redeeming qualities in the hero, and yes, I know it's a dark romance, but that doesn't mean that we should be completely disgusted with him the whole time. Like, there's got to be something sexy. There's got to be something that you're like, oh, he's so bad, but like he would be good to me. Like, you have to have some of that. The heroine was too naive. She was so naive that she was that too stupid to live that you almost get angry and you're like, if you can't see what's happening, then fine, you deserve it, which I know it sounds awful, but this is a fictional book. If this was happening to someone in real life, I would absolutely be the friend who steps in and is like, let's get you out of here. But when you're reading it in a book, you're just like, bitch, if you're this stupid, you're just gonna have to deal with the consequences. I don't know another nicer way to say that, okay? I don't care. I'm saying it. I said it. But yeah, this one was not a success for me, and I won't be continuing with this duet because, again, I don't want to tear down the author just because I didn't vibe with the book, and I don't want to take an arc away from someone else who would probably love it. So that's where we are with that. But yeah, I gave that one 2 stars. Okay, then we skip all the way up to some 3.5-star reads, and I had 2 of those. And one of them for me was Unloved by Marley Valentine. Now, this was one I was really looking forward to. I love menages. I particularly love an MMM menage. I've only read a couple of those, okay, and I really like them. Now, I hadn't read, I believe, the first book in the series, but it was said that you could read this as a standalone. There's a football player in here, there's another college student, and then there's someone who's related, like, knows them like through a friend. I don't know. This book begins with one of these guys. See, I don't even have their names anymore because I don't have that booklet right now, or not my booklet, my computer with it in front of me. But one of them gets injured, and so there's some hurt comfort going in here. So I don't know if there was dynamics that I was missing and I just didn't, you know, see where it was going, but I didn't really see how they all fell in love and why they ended up in a threesome. I didn't see it. I don't know how we got here. Now, the next book in this series, I almost asked for the arc, even though I didn't love this one, because the next one is sapphic, and I really want to try more sapphic romances. I am always saying that I want to find good ones, and I do love Marley Valentine's like writing. It is very emotional and very like gut-wrenching, but I just wasn't feeling the vibe in Unloved, and particularly when you have 3 characters that are all falling in love, you really have to be very diligent in how you show that. And again, maybe I missed it, maybe this was actually started in a previous novel and I should have read the first one even so, but I mean, if an author says that a book is a standalone, you know how I feel. I do always tend to like to read the whole series. However, you should still have the full romance contained within that story. Maybe there is more coloring or maybe more fleshing out that happens in other books, but you should still have the whole of their love story in this one. And this book wasn't long enough for having 3 POVs, and it just, yeah, it just didn't work. So that one was a 3.5 for me. Then there was also It Just Feels Right by Hope Ford. Now, I've read a few Hope Ford, and they are usually very fluffy. The heroes are usually instantly into the heroines. She's written a lot of plus-size characters that I've really liked. This one is actually a stepbrother romance, but it is by the most tenuous of grasps. So our heroine, I believe she's in nursing school. I think that's what she was doing. I honestly don't remember. Our hero is a sheriff. He's a police officer in town, and he is 10 years older than her, and his father has just married her mother, and she, I believe, was like away, like she wasn't there when it happened. So she actually hadn't met her older stepbrother yet, which again, they're the most tenuous step siblings, right? They never knew each other, didn't grow up together. It's totally fine if they want to bang. But what was a little weird is that there ends up being, she's out with her friends, and there's a bit of a bar fight, and she ends up getting hit when she tries to break up this fight, which isn't the smartest moment. So the police officer is called, and he comes in, and he sees this girl, and he instantly has a boner for her. Okay, he instantly is like, that's a girl I want to know. And then after already having decided she's the girl he wants, he hears her name and discovers that, oh my gosh, this is my stepsister. That's going to get messy. But he's not deterred. He's going to have her, even though now she knows he's her stepbrother, and she's like, we can't have anything. It's a bummer. You're like, he's really cute, but we can't have it. And he's like, well, why not? Like, which, to his credit, like, there's not really a reason why they couldn't. Again, there's nothing relating them. He's definitely out of the house. She's out of the house. It's not like they're even sharing a space. They share parents. That's what they share. So there wasn't anything in the way of them being together for that. What was a bit over the top was, again, the absolute not only insta-lust for her, but he completely believes he's in love and she's the only one for him immediately, which really, you could make this a horror novel by making him a stalker instead of being and especially because he's a sheriff in this town, or police officer in this town. This could get real dark real fast. I'm just saying. So I thought he was charming. I thought he was, you know, hunky, but he was going to make her his. And then they've only seen each other like 3 times. Okay. Because she does agree to see him, but they're going to keep it a secret until they're sure, because it would be sticky, which fair enough. It could be a sticky situation. But after only seeing her like 3 times, he's demanding that she tell the whole town they're together. And it's like, dude, it's only been a couple of weeks and she's only seen you a couple of times and you're asking her to. So I just got frustrated. I got frustrated with him. But it was cute. And again, Hope Ford does write quick, spicy, fun times. But you had to jump the shark so hard to believe that he could be this into her. It was just tough. It was just tough for me. Okay, so now we move along to some that I gave 4 stars. So we'll start at the top here. One that came out in December was Second Dukes of Charm. This was the first in a new series from Kate Bateman. This was so kindly gifted to me from Mama Needs to Read Romance. So thank you so much, Bia. She sent this to me as a gift. This is about a virgin duchess, an unconventional duke, and a passionate marriage of convenience. So our heroine actually became a duchess and a widow all on the same day. Her husband came to consummate the marriage and he died before he could because he was an old geezer. So she's made the duchess, and it takes 2 years before the estate is able to find the next heir. So she's been living as the duchess, been helping out and doing her part for these 2 years while an heir was located. And she's also begun this kind of like semi-detective agency with 2 of her friends and using some of the money she's had from this to do it. She ends up going to do some recon work at this one like kind of a club or a thing like that. And she has this spicy encounter with our hero there. Of course, not knowing who he is. And well, she does, I guess, kind of recognize him, but she doesn't realize that he's now the heir, right? She had known him because he is from the area, because he is the heir, but she's wearing a mask and he doesn't know who she is. And so when she gets introduced to the new Duke and it's this guy, she's thinking, oh shit, he's going to out me. And he's thinking, oh, this is perfect, because he doesn't want to be chased after to be married. And she, you know, still wants her independence. So, but he does want to bang her after their hot experience. So he proposes a marriage of convenience. He says, you still get to be the Duchess. I'll stay out of your business. We'll have a hot and heavy affair. And when we tire of each other, you still get to be you, and I'll go back doing my business, and we'll be apart and it'll be fine. And they begin this. So they're already making their marriage of convenience very complicated, but at least it's the kind of story where like they agree to have sex right away. Which still, it doesn't happen right away, but I'm just saying so many of the marriage of convenience, they're like, it's in name only. And I'm always like, come on, let's consummate. But this was a fun time. I just feel like there was a lot more we could have done with it. I also don't really like what her like little detective agents, like what was going on with that was very strange. But I do look forward to her friends who will, I assume, each get a book. And Kate Bateman does write a very light, very easy historical romance. The audiobooks are fun. So, you know, I didn't dislike it. I've read better from Kate Bateman. So that's why this was a 4-star. All right, then we have the first of 2 Lily Mains that I'm about to talk about, because one came in December and one is actually just about to come out. So she released Shots and Barbs, which is the second book in her Deep Earth dating series. So this one is a kind of like rivals to lovers. They actually are kind of working together. It has like a femdom in this one, and it has a hero who he's our monster and he wants to be bossed around, but he also is very like kind of uptight and a little bit prissy. We'll just say it. Just a little bit. And so they end up, though, like they have really great chemistry, so they'll be like arguing and then they just end up kissing each other, but they end up agreeing to have kind of a rivals with benefits relationship. There's a lot of fun kinky stuff that happens. It's cool. The hero also has a bit of an arc because he's actually the older brother of the hero from the first one, and we learn in the first one that that hero was very much like bullied by his family for not being the way they're supposed to be. So now this is the hero who like he had bullied his younger brother. So we do have some good growth of him coming to the realization of what he did and trying to make right with his brother, who he does love. And he didn't realize that he had traumatized his younger brother so much. So it's a very good time to see them get a second chance, you know? Okay, so that was one that I gave 4 stars. And then the one that is about to come out is called Impromptu Match by Lily Main, of course. And this one is the first in the Goliaths of Wrestling. And I have to tell you, I could not make sense of this book, okay? It was hot. It has this one's it has monsters who wrestle, and it has a hidden world in the lower floors of a office building, and it has a human who accidentally stumbles into this and ends up meeting this monster, and they are super attracted to each other, and they end up falling in love and banging a lot. This one was a 5 on the spice scale. There was lots of like kinky stuff, but also they just had sex in every chapter once we got to a certain point. And I was just like, Lily, I get it. They like to bang, and it was just too much for me. But again, also I was very confused by what the point of this one was. I know that's a bad thing to say, but like if you love Lily Main and you love her monster smut, like you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this, okay? They're very sweet. They're very good to each other. There's no third act breakup. There's not even really a conflict besides him being human and him being a monster, and they figure out how that works. But I couldn't hide nor hair of this. So I gave it 4 stars, but honestly, if I didn't love Lily Main so much, it would probably be less because I have no idea what was going on. And like, you need to have a little bit more coherent of a story, right? Okay, then the last one that I gave a 4-star to was Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this one also, I believe it comes out, you will have seen it by the time, it's out by the time you see this video. So this is currently a standalone, I guess. I haven't actually seen if there's going to be a second one, even though I assume there will be for how this one happened. But this is a paranormal marriage of convenience, or like a marriage for an alliance between vampires and werewolves. And we have our heroine, Misery, and our hero, I forgot his name, who is a werewolf alpha. And she is forced to marry him, well, coerced gently into marrying him and being his wife, so that there can be a tentative truce between the vampires and werewolves. And then a werewolf is sent to live with the vampires as well. And so, yeah, she is definitely treated like an outsider in this pack. She feels very lonely. There's only a few people who like reach out to her. There's people who try to kill her when she's there. And then there's also a mystery she's trying to solve. So there's a reason why she so easily agreed to be this bride, because there is some sleuthing that she's trying to do. And I thought that was very, very interesting what she was trying to do. I don't know another way to say it. So I liked this one. It was a very slow burn. There is a fated mates element. And I'll be honest here, it's not so much that I needed more sex between them, although there isn't a lot in here. It's that I feel like there wasn't a lot of progress in the relationship until boom, right at the end. And then we shoved everything in. So I'm fine with a slow burn. I'm fine with it not being a 4 on the pepper scale or something. I just feel like the balance of the story was a little off, but I liked the world that was created. I really liked the heroine quite a bit and some of the side characters. So I'm very interested. Like I said, there is kind of a setup for there to be another one. So I didn't hate this and I had a fun time. I just wanted a bit more than I got. It left me wanting to see more of these two together because they're very like, I don't know, they just felt very separate for so much of the book. And I want my characters to be more together, if that makes sense. Now, some books that I gave 4.5 stars to, which by some books, I mean I have one that I gave 4.5 stars to. And that was Toxic Love by Jagger Cole. Y'all know I'm a big fan of Jagger. This is the first book in his Venomous God series, I think it's what it's called. And this one is a marriage of alliance as well. It's in a kind of a mafia setting. Kind of. They're mafia adjacent. We have this club owner. He owns Club Venom, which is a kinky club where people can, we've visited it before if you've read some of the other series. Super hot. But he's being kind of forced into a marriage and he's engaged to this like 18-year-old. And our heroine is actually the niece of this 18-year-old, which if you read, you'll understand the relationship. But she's actually like, I think 5-6 years older than her aunt. And she makes it so that she gets married to the hero instead, which he doesn't want and she doesn't want, but she doesn't want her aunt to have it. So they're married to each other. And she did this kind of because she doesn't expect to live very long. That's not a spoiler. It's in the blurb. She expects to die. And so she's willing to make that sacrifice and do the marriage because she's not expecting to be there very long. But that also means that as she starts to fall for her husband, she realizes that that was never the plan. She shouldn't fall for him because she's going to leave him even if she doesn't want to. So that puts her in a tough position. So yeah, 4.5 stars for that one. All right, now we have quite a few 5 stars to go through, so let us do that. So Sanctuary by Claire Kent came out. Y'all know I was excited for this. I love Claire Kent with my whole chest. This is book 5 or 6 in the Kindle series. I don't even know. This one does kind of directly connect with Citadel, so you can in general read these books out of order, but you should read Citadel and then Sanctuary if there's any that you read in order, because these are about 2 sisters and this sister's story starts in Citadel, so definitely check that out. But this one is a rivalry between Aiden and again, don't remember this heroine's name. Oopsie, what's her name? It's always so difficult when they do a first person and never say their name. So I don't remember what it is. But anyway, Aiden and her are both, they both do like odd jobs for payment for different communities. And he's been trying to like scare her away from being there, even though there's no reason why they both can't do the job. And so she gets really pissy about how he's trying to edge her out of work. And so there ends up being a challenge created by one community leader that they both are going to like race to this place to get these products, and whoever gets back first with the most will win. Like they literally set this up, only for both of them to end up getting snowed in at a church. And they're stuck there for a few days. And so they're kind of forced to deal with their issues. So this is a little mini like snowed in romance in the apocalypse. And it's just so many of the things that I like. I mean, I love Claire Kent. I loved this. Absolutely was 5 stars. I had a great time. There was Denial by Ali Marr. I don't have too much to say about this. This is a novella. It's a married couple. They are into the kink world. The heroine is the dom. The hero is the sub. And they decide to kind of spice up their relationship by him putting on a cock cage and her not going to tell him when he'll get out. So he's being denied release until she says so, which previously when they do this game, they always know when the end game will be, and she really wants to see how long he can go and how much he trusts her. And it's very beautiful. It really is. This is a couple, they've been together. The author doesn't specifically say, but she said in a note that it was 30 plus years this couple has been together. They're in their 50s and they've been together a long time, and they've been into this a long time. And so it really is, again, this is one where like they're not in trouble as in they might get divorced, but they really have gotten complacent, and this scenario kind of gets them excited to be doing kink again. And I love that type of thing. And also Ali Mar is a very new-ish author, so please check this out. It's only a little over 100 pages, and if you love kink, I think you should give this a try. It was really well done. All right, then there is Savage Wounds by Lillian Harris. I have really gotten caught up on some of Lillian Harris's mafia world in recent months, and this was the one that like I needed to catch up to it because I was still a book behind. But this one just came out, and it is, I can't really tell you who it's about without spoiling the series, but our heroine Kayla, I can tell you about her. She was kept as a sex slave for 8 years, and in an earlier book her best friend escapes and gets involved with the Messina family. And then she ends up escaping as well. And she's very broken by this. She's very much, you know, as you would expect, her mind is fucked up. She has flashbacks. She has nightmares. And so she's doing her best to deal with it. And her friends are trying to help her. But it's tough. Sometimes it's day by day for her. And our hero in this one, like I said, I want to keep him as a bit of a mystery. But he is kind of a stalker to Kayla at different points in this, and he becomes very fascinated by her and ends up feeling very protective of her. And when Kayla becomes a bit of a vigilante killer, our hero ends up getting involved to kind of keep her from getting caught because she's a bit too sloppy. So we'll say it that way is maybe the best way. And she also knows that her friends and loved ones aren't really going to be a fan of her doing things that way. But, you know, whatever helps with your pain, right? Whatever helps with your pain. Okay, then there is One Night by Lena Hendricks. That one came out earlier in January. And this one is the fourth and final book in the Sullivan series by Lena Hendricks. And this is the oldest brother, Duke. And the heroine is Sylvie. And they are they're from rival families. And so they begin this friendship that they've kept secret for months. And they finally have a day where they spend some time together outside of town. And they end up having kind of a one-day stand, we'll say. And when the heroine discovers she's pregnant, well, the secret's out because the hero's not going to not be involved. And so it really puts their families in this position of like, are we going to continue this feud or are we going to work it out so everybody can be together? I really enjoyed this. I loved Duke. I loved how protective and growly he was. And I loved how he, in this book, like he's made a lot of sacrifices. His father has dementia and he's made a lot of sacrifices to be there for him and help him. And he does love his brothers and sister, but like he's done with this feud. You know, he doesn't want any part of it anymore. And he wants to have his woman and everybody to just like be okay with it. So that leads him to a few arguments, but also I just loved how much he was going to stand by Sylvie and be there for their child. So loved it. And next we will get the King's story coming up in her next series she's doing. So can't wait for that. All right, then we have an upcoming release, which was also 5-star, and this was Megan by Rebecca Weatherspoon. Talked about this one quite a few times already. I just love this. I love Rebecca Weatherspoon. She also writes kinky romances, and this is a book that's been a long time coming. It's a part of the Loose End series. Megan is a teacher, and she has also been a part of some long-term, like, polyamorous kink relationships, and recently the group she was a part of has kind of broken up. Not so much a breakup from like not wanting to be together anymore, but they just are kind of moving on with their lives. And she's kind of the odd woman out as it is. And she gets approached by one of her friends, Olin, who needs a fake girlfriend, and he's willing to pay to have one that he can trust because he's a billionaire and there's always women throwing himself at them, and he's actually on the autism spectrum, so he's not very good at like letting women down easy. So he just wants someone who will pretend to be his to keep the ladies off his back. And so him and Megan enter into this like fake relationship. But very quickly, they both have some feelings for each other, and they ask to, you know, he asks her if they could make it more serious. And she says, I am very interested in you as well, but I need you to know that kink is a huge part of my life, and I wouldn't be able to give it up. Like, it is the way that I get pleasure. It's the way I like my sex life to be. So I would need whoever I'm with long term to either be okay with me getting kink somewhere else or be willing to do it with me. Ideally that. And Olin says, teach me. Teach me what you need. So she is actually a submissive. She loves being submissive. So she starts teaching him and involves some of her previous lovers and friends in helping, you know, educate him on what she likes. And I just loved it. I love the communication. Love the whole thing. All right, then we have another new release, which should be out by the time you're seeing this, and that is Stay With Me by Brooke Montgomery. This is the most recent release in her, I just forgot it, Sugarland Creek, got it, which is a small town cowboy ranch romance, and this one is a best friend's brother and also friends to lovers because they're friends as well. They've had this Magnolian trip, have been kind of dancing around each other for years, and this starts actually with she has a one-night stand with her ex and she's pregnant, and we know that from the end of Here With Me. Like, we found out that this happened, and she doesn't know this like in the beginning though, and she finally starts dating Trip. They finally start making a go of it, and then she discovers she's pregnant, and she really doesn't want to push this baby on to him, and so she's very reluctant to stay in a relationship with him. And so he's like, you can do whatever you want, of course I can't force you into anything, but I just want you to know that like I'm all in whether you're having a baby or not. Like, I finally have you in my life. I'm not just going to give you up. And so he goes about proving how dedicated he is to her. And I just, you know it, I'm here for it. So yeah, that was a 5-star read, and I can't wait to have my copy of that one. I just love it. And then let's round out this video of new releases with sharing, you know, the queen of them all, House of Flame and Shadows, which I won't go really in here. I have a whole spoiler vlog about this. I read it and reacted to it as I went, but this was a 5-star read. I absolutely loved it. I love Sarah J. Maas's worlds. I loved the characters and their growth and where the world as a whole is getting to. And I mean, you know, now's the time. If you haven't started, start with Throne of Glass and see where you get with it, because this series is wonderful. So love it so much. So there we go. Those are the last 16 new and upcoming releases that I've read. I hope you will give some of them a try. I'll have links to all of them down below. If you use my link, it does help out the channel. If you would like to say thanks with a super thanks, that does help out the channel as well. And yeah, check out the other ways to support. But the easiest thing to do is just like this video and subscribe to the channel. It doesn't take any time, and it really helps my growth. So thanks so much for watching, friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.